If you're watching this video, you've probably tried to lose weight before. You've tried these crazy diets, you've tried going on runs, you've tried going to the gym, and every single time you do these things, you stay consistent for a few days and then you just fall off because you can't see results. But this is exactly what I realized after losing almost 50 pounds. Losing 50 pounds wasn't the thing that changed my life. It was a man that I became in the process. Let me explain. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be overweight. You can't take off your shirt. When you're at the pool, when you're at the beach with your friends, you see everyone taking their shirt off and they're asking you, why aren't you taking your shirt off? You might even see some overweight people that take their shirt off and sometimes they don't even care that they're fat. They still do it. Meanwhile, you're skinny fat or just overweight in general and you can't take off your shirt regardless. You hate it when people take pictures of you. I used to be the type of guy that would get so mad that I would almost grab somebody's phone and delete the picture of me because I just hated the way my face looked and the way my clothes fit. You just have low confidence in yourself as well. You don't want to talk to women. You don't feel attractive. You don't feel like you're the best version of yourself. It gets to a point where you take a picture of yourself or you just look at yourself in the mirror before you go to work when you're getting ready and taking a shower that you don't even recognize yourself. You realize how far you let yourself go and you feel like no matter what you do, it's never going to get better because as you get older and older, the worse you feel. This is exactly what my life was like when I was at my all-time heaviest weight. I just hated what I saw in the mirror and I just hated the way my life was. And this is exactly what I've done in the past that you've probably done as well. You've tried cutting out carbs, you've tried running, you've tried fasting, you've watched so many videos on YouTube, Instagram, and you even went on ChatGPT to figure out what to do, but still can't figure it out on your own because that's what led me to lose weight, but still not like what I saw in the mirror because I just had this soft, skinny, fat looking physique. And all I really wanted were these things. I just wanted confidence. I wanted to have energy. I wanted to have a better dating life. I wanted to just simply have more discipline with myself and just more self-respect because I knew in the long run, if I'm ever going to be a husband or a father, I'm going to want these things. I'm going to want to be confident with myself. I'm going to want to have energy levels so I can do whatever I want throughout the day. I want to have a better dating life. I want to be more confident that I can talk to any woman and not feel like a catfish or someone that doesn't deserve woman. Now, here were the 4 turning points that made me actually realize that I have to do something now. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. This is exactly when I invested into my first ever fitness coach because I was tired of just doing it on my own. The first turning point was just looking at myself in the mirror every single day and just hating what I saw in the mirror. Every single day when I used to take a shower before going to work, I just didn't like what I saw. I wasn't changing and I was just staying in the exact same spot. And it just kept getting worse and worse because I tried so many things, but I just couldn't stay consistent. I would always end up gaining the weight back. And I realized the man that I was becoming wasn't actually the one that I wanted to be. I saw the way everybody else around me was treating and I realized that it was just getting worse and worse because I was also physically and mentally getting worse as well. And so I was doing everything I possibly could, but getting into shape to fill the void basically. I thought other people were just gonna make me more confident within myself, whether it was girls, whether it was validation from people at work, or just compliments in general. But no matter how much of those things I actually got, it never made me truly confident because deep down, I knew who I was when I was by myself, when I was getting ready for work every single morning, when I was going to bed, and I saw exactly what my physique looked like in the mirror. And so my confidence only went up when I started respecting myself because that's when I maximized everything about me. I knew no matter how many external things I had, it was never going to be enough because I felt like a catfish when I was by myself and I knew exactly what I looked like when I was by myself. And the truth is, when you have too much of certain things like girls, money, validation, compliments, status, all these things, it just desensitizes you. Because I was making good money when I was working my job at CVS and also doing social media on the side. Along with social media, I was also getting a lot of attention from girls as well and getting a lot of compliments and validation, but it truly never filled the void within me because I knew who I was when I was by myself. Without the external things, it means nothing if you don't respect yourself. And so I just simply stopped looking for shortcuts. I just stopped trying to find the easy route out. I stopped doing these quick hacks and these quick fixes to just numb the pain or just try to feel something because it was never going to work. Like I said earlier, this was the first time I invested into my first ever coach and I simply told him, dude, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I want to get this fat off of me as soon as possible and I want to get in the best shape of my life and change it. And so this is exactly when I stopped watching so much information online. I stopped looking for shortcuts. I stopped watching influencers. And after cutting out all this extra noise, I just picked one simple routine and stuck to it for 6 months straight. And that is exactly how I got in the best shape of my life. I had no distractions, no overflow of information. I just had one goal in my mind and I just went after it. And what did that result in? I lost 45 pounds in 6 months. As the journey went on for 6 months straight, I realized the weight wasn't the only thing that I was losing. I had completely killed my old identity. I stopped making excuses. I kept the promises to myself and I respected myself for the first time and I prioritized myself over anything else in this world. After I lost lost the weight, I realized I basically entered a new life where I was just so obsessed with being the best version of myself that I was willing to do whatever it takes. And I ditched all the noise. Now, here's some brutal truths that I also learned after losing almost 50 pounds. Before I even started my weight loss journey, I thought getting abs was just going to change my life. But what I ended up realizing is the discipline that it took to actually achieve getting abs is what made me confident, not the abs themselves. Becoming a millionaire today is easier than to get six-pack abs. So the fact that I had the discipline, the mindset, the consistency, the obsession to get abs in the first place made me realize how different I was than everybody else around me, because I was willing to do the hard things, and that's what made me confident. Something about just doing the work when no one's watching and no one wants to do it, but you doing it yourself, that's what makes you confident, because you realize how different you are. Number two is that I thought confidence came from just looking better in general. Confidence came from the fact that I actually proved to myself that I could change. You know, growing up when you're overweight, people are telling you that you just have bad genetics, you shouldn't even try to lose weight, you should just stay the way you are, because even when you start losing weight, people might be supportive at first, but as you get leaner and leaner and lose more weight, people start hating on you for it. But when you can prove to yourself that you can do whatever it takes, that's what makes you confident. Growing up, the only thing that I heard was, I'm just never going to have abs because that's just the way my genetics are. And for a while, I actually believed it, because no matter how hard I tried, I just never was fully confident within myself. But the fact that I proved to myself that for 6 months straight, I can stick to one thing and achieve a specific goal, that's what makes me confident. That's what makes me realize I can do anything in this life. Number three, I thought fitness meant you had to be suffering. The goal of getting in shape isn't to suffer. The goal is to be able to maintain it and enjoy your life, because the truth is fitness should add on to your life, not take away from it. Sure, in the moment, there were some days where I didn't want to go to the gym, I didn't want to diet, I didn't want to do cardio, I didn't want to do anything. But the truth is I had habits in place where it wasn't even hard to stick to, because it just became a part of my life. That's exactly what fitness is supposed to mean. When you can build habits that you can stick to for the rest of your life, fitness stays on autopilot. Getting into shape and maintaining being in shape becomes so easy, because you realize that all the fit people in the world aren't suffering every single day. They just have habits in place that allow them to enjoy themselves while also being able to stay in shape. Number four is I thought the external things were going to make me more happy than getting into shape. The woman, the money, the success, the status. I thought that all these things were going to make me happy. But the truth is, respecting myself and changing my identity is what made me the most happiest. Not only did I become a whole new person at the end of my weight loss journey, I basically ditched my old life. All the bad habits, all the excuses, the lack of urgency. I became someone who didn't have to rely on motivation. I became someone who was more disciplined than ever before. And so after I got into shape, it just 3x'd. And this is simply because how you show up in one thing is exactly how you show up in other things in your life. If you can prove to yourself that you can get in shape, you can do anything in this life, because you finally proved it to yourself. And number five, I thought losing weight or just changing my body is what I wanted. But what I really wanted was just more confidence. I wanted to have respect from other people. I wanted to feel like I wasn't a catfish, and that is exactly what I ended up doing. I didn't do that by just losing weight, because anyone can lose weight. I did that by changing my identity, by becoming the version of myself who's fit, who's in shape, who's successful. I envisioned what his life would be like, and I would do everything that the version of myself would be doing. And so in the moment when I didn't want to go to the gym, when I didn't want to do my diet, when I didn't want to do my cardio and all these good habits, I would ask myself in those moments, what is the version of myself who's in shape, who's successful? What would he be doing in the situation? And that is exactly when I realized I entered a new life and ditched my old life. Now, throughout my whole journey of losing weight and just becoming a new person, here are the 4 philosophies that I ended up learning. Sustainability over intensity is key. As soon as I stopped watching all this junk online of ChatGPT, Instagram, YouTube, and just seeking more information, I just stuck to one routine. I picked foods I enjoyed, I went to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, and I did no running or HIIT workouts, and I just stuck to walking. You need to find a routine for yourself that you can stick to even after losing weight, because if you can't do that, you're just going to gain all the weight back and become overweight again. Ask yourself in these situations, what would the fit version of myself will be doing? And that is exactly what I did. I knew even after I finished losing weight, I was going to want to eat foods that I enjoyed. I didn't want to have to go to the gym every single day. I didn't want to do running or HIIT workouts, so I did the exact same things that I was doing while losing weight and still do it to this day. Number 2, simplicity will always win. There is no need for you to be going on Instagram and YouTube and looking up all these fancy recipes. Just stick to a simple meal structure, because you are most likely going to stick to that. Especially if you're a busy guy like me and you have a demanding career, you're not going to want to be making these fancy meals. Same thing with cardio. You're not going to want to be doing running or HIIT workouts after a long day of work. Just stick to walking, as this is exactly what I did and still do to this day. And the same thing applies to going to the gym as well. Stop forcing yourself to go to the gym every single day for 2 hours. Just stick to a basic lifting program where you go to the gym 3 or 4 or 5 times a week and you only go for 45 minutes to an hour max. You are more likely to stick to that routine of going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week than going to the gym every single day for 2 hours. The more simple you keep it, the more likely you are to stay consistent with it. Number 3, focus on building a new identity, not seeking motivation. The truth is, you're not going to want to diet every day. You're not going to want to go to the gym every day. You're not going to want to do your cardio. You're not going to want to go to bed on time. You're not going to want to do anything some days. But this is exactly where you need to ask yourself, what is the fit version of myself doing in this situation? He is having daily habits in place that he can stick to every single day. Don't create habits that you can't stick to. You need to come up with habits that you can stick to today and 6 months from now. The fit version of yourself is also not doing this alone. He is having accountability. So surrounding yourself with the right environment is very important, because if you're not surrounding yourself with people that are leveling up constantly, you are going to get complacent and stay there forever. And lastly, focus on having small wins every single day. If you constantly diminish everything you do that you weren't doing before, you are never going to feel good. Understand that when you are getting into shape, you are changing your whole life. So the small things you do, like eating a little bit healthier, going to the gym when you don't feel like it, getting your steps in, doing all these small little things, you weren't doing them before. That is considered a small win, and when you can acknowledge that, you will build a new identity instead of focusing on your old identity. And lastly, confidence is the product. Sure, it's nice to see your muscles, your abs, your veins, getting compliments, getting girls, getting validation, all these things. But the true confidence comes from a much deeper level. The discipline, the self-respect, the attraction, the leadership, and the energy you have when you get into shape. All these factors play a role into how confident you actually are. Because when you get lean for the first time, you have never experienced it before. And when you do, you are never going to want to go back to your old fat self. In today's society, being in shape is very, very rare because obesity is through the roof. And so when you are in shape, you realize how different you are. You realize, yeah, you stand out from everybody else around you, and that is what makes you confident, because staying in shape is not easy in today's society. It is simple, but it is not easy. And once you can master this, you understand that you have the discipline to do things that most people don't. Because as you are losing weight, it's hard to understand, but you are doing things that most people aren't willing to do. And everything I do with my clients come back to this one question: is this helping them lose weight, or is this helping them become the man who is naturally going to stay in shape even without my help one day? And here's exactly how I know it works. People think these pictures right here is just a 30-pound difference. I personally don't think that, because there is a much deeper difference in his life. This is my client Nick, who used to starve himself and do hours of cardio to lose weight before we started working together. He also grew up overweight, and he just wanted to take off his shirt whenever he wanted to and just feel confident when he looked at himself in the mirror. And just after implementing the smallest changes in habits in the world and having accountability, his whole life completely changed. He started getting more compliments. Random people started conversations with him. He had high levels of confidence and energy, and he basically ditched his old life and his old habits and became in love with being disciplined. There were some instances where I didn't even force him to do certain things, but he was just so obsessed and so disciplined that he did it naturally without me telling him to. That is exactly how I know his whole life changed, because he was doing things that I didn't even ask him for. He just wanted to do them himself because he knew it was going to be beneficial in the long run. Another example is my client Hussein. People think this is a 40-pound difference in these pictures, but I personally don't think that either. Now, Hussein was already going to the gym. He works 40 to 50 hours every single week, but he just didn't know what to do with his diet, and he just had bad habits in place. There was moments where his mental health was so affected that sometimes he would get emotional talking to me about it, because he just wanted to like what he saw in the mirror for the sake of his mental health. And after 6 months of working together, he has the right habits in place. He loves what he sees in the mirror, and now he's living a completely different life. People talk to him more, people respect him more, people ask him questions, people compliment him, and all these external things that are happening in his day-to-day life, especially his social life, it scares him to go back to his old life. It scares him to go back to his old habits when he was fat, because there were some moments where he didn't want to stick to his diet, he didn't want to go to the gym, he didn't want to do his cardio, and sometimes he would fall off for a day or two. But he realized how he felt in those moments. He realized he didn't like his old life. He loved his new life. Even though he felt uncomfortable at some moments, he loved what he saw in the mirror and how his life was in the moment of being in shape. And so that is exactly why I know he is not going to be fat ever again. Not only is it because of the habits, but it is because of his mindset. He is scared to go back to his old life and his old habits because he has ditched it completely and killed it. And he has entered a new life where he stays in shape and loves the habits he has in place. None of my clients that I worked with just wanted more discipline or more motivation. At first, they wanted to lose weight and just get in shape overall. But what they actually gained in the process was confidence, self-respect, and a lifestyle that they could actually maintain. Because I was also in the same position that my clients were in. The old version of me just wanted validation. He had no confidence. He was starting over every Monday. He avoided his reflection at all costs, and he was chasing shortcuts because he wanted to get in shape as fast as possible. But the version of me today keeps his promises. He doesn't rely on motivation because he understands that not every day is going to be perfect. He's more confident within himself, and in his day-to-day life, he is more disciplined, and now he's coaching others on the exact same thing. My success or my client's success isn't because I'm gatekeeping this secret workout or this diet plan, because you can go find those things on Instagram, YouTube, ChatGPT, whatever you want. They succeed because we build the kind of habits and identity that allows them to stay in shape without even trying. So if you're expecting this to happen overnight or just another 30-day challenge, we're probably not a good fit if you want to work with me. But if you're looking for someone who's helping you become the man that's lean, confident, and disciplined for the rest of your life, that's exactly who I've built this for. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link in the description below. Fill out that link and book a call and we'll have a conversation. We'll see where you're at right now, where you want to get to, and if we're a good fit to work together one-on-one. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any other questions, feel free to message me on Instagram. I reply to all my DMs personally.